Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me here live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. How you doing, Chuck? Welcome back.
Swell.
How's Raleigh? How's the city of Raleigh, North Carolina?
I didn't mind it. It was
Yeah,
fine.
it's a place.
Yeah, it was fine.
It exists. Yeah.
It's the first time I really, for an extended period of time, stayed in the downtown. And it was beautiful weather, especially yesterday. Gorgeous weather. So I got to walk around, hung out in a park. Wasn't bad.
So, Charlie, we've been dead before and we've climbed out of the grave. We keep hearing that we're dead and dead, but the guys don't give up. That's why I'm proud of them. Rick Tocchet on his team after nearly coming away with a victory, but falling short 3-2 in overtime to fall behind in the series 2-0. What I am hearing there from Rick Tocchet: buy the ticket, take the ride. What, are you going to stop believing now? That's basically what I have heard from Rick Tocchet. Now, I think we have all watched this series and thought, ooh, not so sure about this one, but fact of the matter is they still have to lose 2 more games before the season ends, and this has been a lot of fun. I'm not quite ready to write them off entirely. We are going to talk today about the lack of offense, what they have to do if they're going to get themselves back into this thing. But as it stands, they trail 2-0. It is not 4-0. It is not over. They come home, play in Philly twice. Things could change dramatically by this weekend. Who the hell knows? Or, you know, we're talking draft on Monday. We could be doing either. Who's to say?
I'm not talking draft.
We're not talking draft yet Monday.
I'm not talking draft until June.
Until
I'm sorry.
June? All right.
I've had zero time. I know nothing about these players. I'm not talking the draft until June.
No one does. We can just make it up. Yeah.
But my whole point is that I do know. That's why people watch.
I understand, Charlie. I understand. If you want to buy the ticket, take the ride, maybe do so at allphly.com. Get one of our new playoff shirts. We have a variety of new playoff shirts. We have our 2026 playoff buy the ticket, take the ride shirt. We've got the Darth Vladar shirt. We've got the scumbag hockey shirt. So many different options for you.
It's great stuff.
I have heard the hats are going to be restocked. The Philly Hockey Club is going to be restocked. A whole bunch. My buddy's daughter, who's like 6 or 7, he was like home from work doing something. It's like, here, play with the iPad. I got something to do. She's like, I found Uncle Bill's show. And now she's dying for a scumbag shirt.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
He's like, you're 7. You can't go to school in that. You can't walk around.
She absolutely can go to
Yes,
school.
She can.
She absolutely
She
can.
absolutely can. Get him for the kids. It's a family-friendly show. Anyway, we also have a Die Hard sale going while the playoffs last. And again, you know, between the Flyers and Sixers, you might want to get in on this sale now. That's all I'm saying. Just $32 for the year. All of our premium content, access to the Discord, discount on merch and events like all those great shirts you just saw. Draft party coming up. You're gonna want to attend that. It is the event of the summer. So check it out. All that. Just go to allphly.com. If you're not a diehard, $32 for the year. All right, Charlie. Before we get into everything else, let's hit the news. Noah Cates day to day. Mike Sealski reports he saw him holding a walking boot that would fit his right foot.
Yeah, I saw what Mike saw, but I did not notice him holding a walking boot.
Okay.
But he was it was less of a, because I feel like people have this idea of it being like a cart as if it's at an Eagles game.
Yeah, like an NFL.
I can tell you that arena is not big enough. The hallways are not big enough for there to be a cart. It was basically just like
It wasn't big enough for the cameras.
It was basically an equipment cart that it just was on wheels, and the trainer was just pulling the equipment cart with Noah Cates sitting on it.
I am very like the milk cart that like in elementary school where that's exactly what
more or less what it was.
Yeah, okay.
But it's very clear that Noah Cates is at least banged up, because Rick Tocchet was asked about it today on his Zoom, which they have when they don't practice, and he did not deny that Noah Cates is at the very least day to day.
Yeah, I don't remember honestly if you said it in post game or I saw it on Twitter or whatever. I did hear someone say, "Oh, looks like maybe Cates was banged up at the end there." So, whatever it was, it all adds up that Noah Cates doesn't seem like he's at 100%.
He ain't the only guy.
And
there's a lot of guys in this team that are not close to it.
That's where I was going. It was like, as is the entire roster banged up at this point, and that is not a Flyers specific issue. Like, it's we're into round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But if you're breathing, you're probably hurt.
But I think the Flyers are significantly more injured than the Carolina Hurricanes.
I would probably guess that is the case.
Number one, they've played in 2 more playoff games just because the Canes had a 4-game sweep. The Flyers went 6. Number 2, the Canes had more time to rest between series. Number 3, the Flyers were battling to make the playoffs the entirety of the final 6-7 weeks of the year, whereas the Canes for the final 2 weeks were resting dudes.
Guys. Yeah, like it's...
I don't doubt that the Canes have some guys who are banged up.
Sure.
I suspect that Sebastian Aho is one of them, because if he's not banged up, then, man, he's just playing terribly. But the Flyers are the more banged up team. I can state that with like 99.9% certainty.
Ehlers missed a couple of games in the Ottawa series. He finally has his first goal of the playoffs. Like, Nikishin isn't playing yet. It's not as if they're 100%. But, yeah, I mean, Owen Tippett hasn't played in the series. Travis Konecny is dressed. The end. There's a whole lot of guys who don't appear to be 100% for this team. We'll talk about that. But we have the Cates, perhaps day-to-day, perhaps a foot injury. We don't know. That's what's being reported right now by some who may have seen a walking boot.
I don't doubt that Mike.
I just don't know. I wasn't there.
I didn't take notice of what Noah Cates was holding. I'm glad that Mike did, because I would have missed that.
Was he standing behind a desk and you only saw his upper body? Because that's still the all-time. It's the best.
I had someone DM me this morning and say, "How can you write a story about a walking boot and not have a picture of the player without being able to see the walking boot?"
Claude Giroux.
For those who do not know,
it was like 10 years ago.
I forget sometimes that, like, while we do have a significant portion of our viewership and listenership that have been with us since the mid 2010s, the early 2010s, even, we're talking back to BSH, but there are a lot that do not remember those times. And there was a situation where Claude Giroux, this was peak Claude Giroux, prime.
This is like 2014, probably.
Yeah, when he was at his best, and he was one of the best forwards in the league. He got banged up, and it was very questionable as to whether he was going to play in a game at MSG against the Rangers. And it looked like he wasn't going to play, and then he goes up to MSG like on his own. Like, he didn't go up with the team, but he shows up a little bit later. And Randy Miller, who at the time was one of the beat writers, I guess, saw Giroux walking. He said he saw Giroux walking into MSG with a walking boot on, and that is legitimately very interesting and useful information. Yeah. Well, but what Randy Miller did is that he snapped a very fuzzy picture of Giroux with his phone, which again would have been great, except for the fact that the picture only showed Giroux from the waist up. And it had Giroux giving Miller the most confused and annoyed look. And then he posts the picture on the article, this is Claude Giroux in a walking boot, but you can't see the walking boot.
It would be
hilarious.
This camera angle of us, right now, me, but 30 feet away.
Yes.
And Brenna being Bill's in a walking boot.
Yeah.
You're like,
cool.
Maybe.
It's possible.
I'm not saying this is what Silsky did. It's just what I thought of when I was like, Charlie didn't report that.
The beat back.
Not everyone saw the same things or reported the same thing. So I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no idea. Yeah. But that's what's being reported about Noah Cates. Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett has not played in the first 2 games of this series. He played all 6 games of the Penguins series, registered a goal and an assist. He showed flashes at points in the series, including late in overtime, a couple of shifts before the Flyers win it.
Yeah.
With a drive with his speed and strength to the net, and Martone almost scores the game winner off of the rebound. But he hasn't looked like that guy, really, since the end of the regular season. Hasn't Owen Tippett, and now he has missed the first 2 games of this series. It was kind of a shotgun start. We found out at 11:20 or 11:40 on Thursday night that they'd be playing Saturday, and the series wraps up on Wednesday night. Okay, it's not a lot of turnaround here. Do you expect him for game 3 now that he's had a few days of rest and now there's this extra day here? It's the travel day built in. They don't play again until Thursday. Are we thinking Owen Tippett game 3? I know you don't.
I'm not super optimistic. I think it's possible. I could see, like, if they lose game 3, I would not be shocked if he plays game 4. And then we're really bringing the Gagne comparisons.
Well, that was the next comparison.
But
yeah.
I think I obviously have not watched these games on television, but I was told that Emily Kaplan of ESPN reported on one of the games, maybe it was game 1, reported during game 1 on air that she had talked to Briere and Briere had said it's his neck. And if that's true, then I can see why they're not rushing him back.
Yeah, that's
because that's serious stuff.
No, like, as hard it is as it is to like skate on a broken foot or something, that's not like the rest of your career.
Yeah.
You just like rest, maybe get surgery. Like neck, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard something about that, but it wasn't.
Supposedly it was from Emily Kaplan, who apparently said she heard it from Danny. Now, there could be multiple issues. Like, he could have 2 problems, not just one. Maybe there's another issue that he's dealing with as well. But it has struck me as weird because what I was told in between the Penguin series and the start of the Hurricane series was that during the Penguin series, and I was not told what the injury was, but I was told that Tippett was probably playing at about 70% during the Penguin series.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. And that speaks to how tough he is. But also, it struck me as weird because it's like, okay, if he's playing at 70%, okay, I can buy that. But also, he looks fast. It's not like he looks slow. Now, maybe the shot hasn't been there the way it was during most of the season, but he was still breaking out on some crazy rushes. And I'm like, if it was an ankle, if it was like a pulled muscle or a tear or something, or
It
like
just
a
wouldn't
groin
be
issue,
there. Like the push wouldn't be there.
like you wouldn't think he would look as quick as he did through a lot of that Pittsburgh series, at least in spurts. If it's something a little weirder, like a neck, that maybe makes a little bit more sense to me.
And it's like a neck is a thing that could, as we saw in the series, like some games he was invisible. Some games, like there's one game he had 11 hits. And like even in game 6, he had like 6 shots on goal and like 6 hits or something.
Yeah.
Like that's something that could come and go.
Yeah.
That actually makes a little bit more sense to me. I will say, if he's not, and you just said, like, and I was going to point that out. Well, there is the 2010 example of Gagne. Like, he didn't come back for, like, must win game 3. And then there he is for game 4, when it's kind of an inevitability at that point. Of course, it wasn't. They win the series. But in reality, you fall down 3-0, it's an inevitability.
It's pretty tough.
If he's not back on Thursday, I kind of don't expect him back. I guess it's all hands on deck, season on the line, down 3-0, but like a neck, I don't know if I'm bringing a dude back from a potential neck injury with like a 1% chance to win a game or 2, let alone the series.
It's a fair point. If that is a risk, if there's a risk of further injury, if there's a risk of this having career-long implications.
Like it could be a strained muscle in his neck. It doesn't need
to
be his spine. Like those are different things, but like it's a scary idea.
I just know that, by covering these guys, like this is just such a tight group. And Owen Tippett is such a key piece, not just of the team, but of the culture that they've built, of that team atmosphere, that if they have a chance to be eliminated in game 4, if they were to lose game 3 and game 4 is a potential elimination game, like he is going to be on his knees begging to play just because he doesn't want to be not on the ice to try to stop the season from ending. I just know that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if that's the case, despite potential long-term ramifications or whatever. This is hockey. That's what they do. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It will not shock me if he comes back and then it's like, yeah, dude needs disc replacement surgery. And I have no idea. Just like we're just throwing something at a wall here. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me if that's the case because it's effing hockey. All right, so that's all we know about the reported injuries and news that came out. Anything else that you heard on the Zoom call today before we throw to break?
Well, one question that I wanted to ask, just because truthfully, I wasn't planning to even write on it. I'm not going to, but I was just intrigued because some people have brought it up to me, and I think it's a reasonable question to ask, and it's hilarious that we're having this conversation. But actually, Anthony brought it up to me when I came on his show this morning, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I think it's an interesting question. The idea of, is it time to move Couturier back up the lineup because he's been doing so well in this fourth line checking shutdown role? Do you put him back with Michkov to try to spark some of these scoring wingers that can't score? Do you put him with Zegras? Do you do something like that? Because Couturier has been so good. So I asked Tocchet, is that a consideration, or do you not want to rock the boat because he's playing so well in this role? And Tocchet more or less said, look, I'm trying to get him out there for some scattered shifts with those guys because he's playing so well and he's getting a little bit more power play time. Now he's taking faceoffs on the power play. So he's getting more offensive opportunities because I just want him out there because he's been playing so well. But he's hesitant to pull him out of that role because Couturier has just been so good in that role, and it's had him play with the mentality that he wants Couturier to play with. So that was the question I asked because I was legitimately curious. It does not seem like, unless maybe Tocchet was lying, but it does not seem like it's in the cards, at least for game 3, for Couturier to pop up as suddenly he's 1C Couturier again, centering Zegras and Michkov.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. It is a little one part of me is, yeah, man, it's all hands on deck. We're down 2-0. This guy's been our best forward through 8 playoff games. The other part is, however, are we going to be able to depend on this Couturier going forward? And if this is all about learning experience, if it's not about this year, as fun as this ride is, Zegras has to learn, this is the ass kicking you're going to take. Deal with it. Cates, Barkey, whoever's freaking playing center for this team right now, this is what it's going to be. Sean Couturier, can we guarantee this is the guy we get next spring? I don't think so. It would be surprising. It would be really great. I mean, that's awesome if it is, because he signed forever with a no-move clause. So if we get this version of Couturier in the playoffs, we can live with 40-point Coots in the regular season, absolutely. I think. But I am a little torn. I would say maybe give it a shot. Maybe figure out something with, him and Michkov and Martone together. I don't know. But reunite him and Michkov and TK from last season, because that line was really effective last year. There's got to be something, because on the other side, we're going to talk about this offense, and I guess we can call it an offense. It's really, really gone dry since game 3 of the Penguins series. We will talk all about that after this quick 2-minute break. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's already online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contracts and no hidden fees. And Xfinity's best equipment is always included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply, and as always, let's go Flyers. All right, quick timeout. This one is worth hearing. TrueMark Credit Union just rolled out their new Momentum Checking, and it's built for everyday life. No big balance requirements, no hoops, no confusing tiers, just rewards for how you already bank. Use your debit card, you can earn rewards on your everyday purchases. You'll also get ATM fee reimbursements, plus access to high-yield savings options when you complete a few simple activities. And right now, there's a $250 bonus when you open a new Momentum Checking account and meet the qualifications. More perks, less hassle. That's a big win. Check it out at TrueMark.com or visit one of their 24 local branches. $250 bonus with new Momentum Checking and $1,000 qualifying direct deposit within the first 90 days. Prior checking members not eligible. For full details, visit TrueMark.com/momentum. Federally insured by the NCUA. Welcome back. It is time for the Ace Hardware Home Services temperature check. Let's take a look at what player's player is heating up or cooling off with Ace Hardware Temp Check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Man, Ace Hardware must really be working overtime on that Philadelphia Flyers cooling system, because boy, is it frigid in South Philly. Dear God, Charlie, this offense. It's not as if this was an offensive juggernaut coming into the playoffs. They average under 3 goals per game. I think they finished at 2.93 for the season. For the playoffs, they're at 2.25 goals per game. That is with scoring 11 goals in the first 3 games, only 7 goals in the last 5. They are under 1.5 goals per game since game 4 of the Penguins series. We all know how bad the power play is. They have 3 goals. They're 3 for 28. 2 of them came in game 3 against the Pens. They are 1 for 18 in their last 5 games on the power play. Rough. 3 Philadelphia Flyers have scored more than 1 goal, Charlie. 2 of them are defensemen. Porter Martone, the only forward, his 2 goals came in the first 2 games of the Penguins series. This is a team totally devoid of offense right now. Rasmus Ristolainen still leads the team in playoff scoring with 1 goal and 4 assists. He's got 5 points. He leads.
Some of those assists were not. They were cheapies. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I don't actually think that Rasmus Ristolainen has been the most dangerous offensive weapon this team's had.
If he had, they would have got eliminated in 4 by Pittsburgh. I'm just pointing this out to say it's freaking Rasmus Ristolainen, and with 5 points in 8 games, leading the way for this team. I mean, yeah, Risto, 1 goal, 4 assists. He leads the team. Coots, TK, Kate, Zegras, Drysdale, all tied for second with 4 points. The only Flyers with a point through 2 games in the second round. Coots, 1 goal, Drysdale, 1 goal, Grunstrom, 1 assist. That's it. They got shut out in game 1. They scored 2 in game 2. It makes sense. But when you write it down, it's like, oh my God, really? This is it? Grunstrom and Coots are 2/3 of our offense so far. So that's it. So let's get to that first thing we were talking about, that last thing we were talking about before the break. More time for Coots in the top 9, not just getting the shit. And listen, he played like 20-some minutes last night. It's not as if he's not getting shifts. And like you said, he's getting time on the power play now, if not to just take faceoffs. I saw him win a faceoff and go straight to the net last night at one point.
The way they're doing it, because I was keeping an eye on it during the game to figure it out. Basically, what's happening is he's taking the faceoff in the offensive zone because they want to try to maximize possession time, because it's like, well, power play is terrible. We got to do something different. If Coots wins the draw, he stays on the ice until the first clear.
Okay.
If he loses the draw and they clear, he immediately goes off the ice. So that's what it is. So there's a world where he could theoretically spend the entire shift on the power play. If he wins the draw, they retain possession, and then they just keep it for 40, 50, 60 seconds, however long they're in the zone. But if there's a clear, or if he loses the draw, he goes right off and he's replaced by Cates or Dvorak or whatever. But that's what they're doing. So it is giving him more power play time, but he's not on the power play.
Do you think it is the move right now to get him into a regular role in the top 9 and form the 4th line accordingly? Just be like, Glendening, guess what? You're 4C. There's no more alternating. This is just your role, and you're with Hathaway and Forster or whoever.
I lean towards no. And my reason is that, number one, I agree with Tocchet that Couturier has just owned this role. He is in the mentality of, I am the shutdown center that I was in my first 3, 4, 5 years in the NHL, and that is what I do. I mean, I'm thinking back to that big hit he threw in overtime on Logan Stankoven.
Yeah.
Like, if you move Sean Couturier back to top 6 first line center, is he looking for those hits, or does he have it in his head like, well, now I have to create goals? That's my focus. I don't think Tocchet wants to lose that element of Couturier's play, and I think he's afraid that if he moves him back into a scoring role, then Couturier understandably starts thinking more about, rather than creating energy, he's like, how do I set up Michkov? How do I set up Konecny? So that's number one. Number two, and it goes back to something you said a few minutes ago, I think if the Flyers have a path, and it's a narrow path, but if they win game 3, it's a series again. It really is. If the Flyers have a path to winning this series, that path is not old man Sean Couturier carrying the team on its back to winning the series in 6 or 7. The path to winning this series is Trevor Zegras stepping up, Matvei Michkov carrying over his strong overtime into actual full games, Travis Konecny finishing on his chances. Like, that's the path. And I don't know if, like, just crossing your fingers that Sean Couturier can channel 2018, 2019 Sean Couturier is really bad. I think the path is just hope those guys get going.
And listen, they've had sufficient time here. And I do think there might be something to, like, in terms of your assessment of, the way he's been creating energy, hunting hits, owning his role. It's one thing to get the minutes because you're going. It's another one going in to be like, all right, playing 22 tonight. And suddenly maybe it's just a different mentality. You can trick yourself all you want, but Sean Couturier is not a dumb guy. If he's out there and he's got Zegras on his left and Michkov on his right, he's like, it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different of what they're asking me to do now. Maybe suddenly it's not the same effective guy. So I do get that as well. And man, if it's not Zegras and Martone and Michkov and Forster leading it, what good is it really?
That's kind of my thing.
What's the point of this if it's just like, yeah, man, look at that. It was just Sanheim and Couturier. Like,
right.
All right, cool. But we already know who they are. And
I just think that, like, I'm extremely high on Travis Sanheim as a player.
Yeah.
And I think Sean Couturier has been awesome in these playoffs. But I don't see a world where let me put it this way. You can beat the Pittsburgh Penguins with your 3 best players in the series being 33-year-old Sean Couturier, Travis Sanheim, and Dan Vladar. I do not think you can beat the Carolina Hurricanes if those are your 3 best players. If you're going to beat the Carolina Hurricanes, you got to have, one of Zegras, Konecny, Forster, Michkov, Martone. One or more of those guys has to step up. And the reason why they're down 2-0 is that none of them have.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to get into next. Let's go through some of these guys here. Let's go to Trevor Zegras. Started out the playoffs. It looked like he was going to be a major factor. 4 points in the first 4 or 5 games. He's got no points in the last 4 games. Yeah, so 4 in the first 4, none since. Trevor Zegras, second leading scorer on the team. Really, really, after a bit of a dip in the midpoint of the season, came back, found his place at center, and was super productive again, at least from an assist standpoint. You wrote that article, like, goals have kind of dried up, but he's picking up assists at the same rate. Look, or even better. He had been much more productive. He has just absolutely disappeared. Although he did set up TK with the possible breakaway.
That is true. It was a good play on that one.
And it was finally like what they needed. Like, not only did he get up, get in a guy's grill, get his stick on a puck, but they finally got the bounce where it was like, oh, and it's not somehow good. Like the 50-50 puck somehow ended up a perfect pass to them anyway. Like, we got the puck and he finds TK, and we all know what happened there. But
I will say, though, and I reported this morning, I got from a very reliable source, and to be clear, because there were some people giving me crap, and you're just carrying more, the source was not from the Philadelphia Flyers. I got from a reliable source that the puck did indeed go on net, that Anderson nicked it with his blocker.
Charlie, I looked at the game summary, I looked at the event summary, and I looked at the play-by-play, and that's his only shot attempt of the game, so it's not like I was confusing it with anything else. It's a shot on goal, and anything you can bet on regularly in this league, they consistently audit.
Yeah.
Like, people have woken up with 100 more hits in the hit column because, like, yeah, man, we were like getting a bunch of unders.
And it doesn't absolve him. He still has to finish on that chance.
It's just not what we thought it was.
It's like,
maybe.
It is objectively true that fans are going to take it worse if a guy misses the net completely versus a guy just getting stopped by a great save.
Stop, yeah.
Like, and again, still got to finish. That does not absolve Travis Konecny.
Had to score.
He's the team's leading scorer. He's the team's highest paid player. He's got to find a way, and he admitted that after the game. I got to find a way to finish on that chance, but in the moment, it looked like he just straight up missed it.
Yeah.
And that's not actually what happened.
It's he got a shot on goal. It deflects into the corner. Looks like he missed by a mile. But that is also.
I was in the building.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
it looked like he missed it.
That's the downside of watching in 2D. But like, you were there. And you saw. Everyone thought they saw the same thing.
I mean, the real failure here, more than anything, is like, why did ESPN not have a good replay of that?
ESPN last night, they were lucky to have the cameras on the game.
Oh, I heard it was bad.
When people stood up in front of the hard cam, all of a sudden you saw the back of heads, and they were like ads on the back of dudes' heads.
Oh, geez.
It was rough last night.
Rough.
It looked like an AHL game at points. It was not great. Anyway, Zegras, no points last 4 games. Christian Dvorak, Charlie, has not scored a goal in these playoffs.
Yeah,
he
rough.
also has, I think he's got 3 or 4 assists, no points in the last 4. First guy I really want to focus in on, Matvei Michkov. 1 assist in 7 games. It is, of course, the series clinching primary assist.
That's true.
To beat the Penguins in overtime. That was a really nice play. We were hoping, because we've seen him at times, okay, he's building, he looks like himself. I don't know if that's what we've seen since then. Overtime was hopefully a positive sign, though, because that's the closest. Yeah. You said on postgame last night, that's Matvei Michkov.
Yeah, that's the closest we've seen in these playoffs to what we hope Matvei Michkov will become. At the very least, it's the closest we've seen to him looking like the guy we saw during the stretch run. You know, when he was scoring at above a point per game pace, that was effective. Matvei Michkov, I hope he can build off that. And, you know, Anthony Gargano talked to me about it this morning, and he was like, well, what changed? And I said, I think really what changed is that, look, some of this is pace. Some of this is that this is his first taste of playoff action. It's more physical, it's faster, and he's just not there yet. And we hope that he gets there over time, but he's not there yet. But another part of it is that the way the Flyers have played in these playoffs is that they have conceded puck possession more and focused more on their ability to just keep you to the outside. You know, you'll have the puck more than us, but we'll actually create higher quality chances in aggregate because we're taking advantage of our opportunities, and you can't breach the high danger areas. That's a style that probably is not great for Michkov, because Michkov needs to be like, he's like a Voracek. His best defense is not playing defense.
Yeah.
And in overtime, for maybe the first time, it's certainly the first time in this series, maybe the first time since like the first half of that Penguin series, the Flyers were playing defense by keep away. They were in the offensive zone a lot, and that's where Michkov, like, yeah, you're not going to notice his defensive flaws as much if he's just on the attack more, and they were on the attack more in overtime. That maybe played into why he looked more effective.
And I just saw him personally, like, there've been a lot of times where it looked like, okay, this is going to be a 50-50 puck, and he just doesn't get there. And I saw him putting his head down and getting into a spot.
I agree.
And if not winning a battle, at least creating a battle. If he got beat, he would reach for a poke check and not trip the guy and actually poke the puck so that Cates or someone could come over and pick it up. Like, I just saw a more aggressive and confident Mish, and that's what those two things go hand in hand for him. We've seen that already in his quick career. If someone is going to step up, I feel like he needs to have, at some point in these playoffs, a signature game. He needs one. I'm not expecting him to win them this series now. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask of anyone, let alone a 21-year-old who had a sophomore slump. I do want him to have that 1 3-point game.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
And, like, maybe it's Thursday. I just feel like I saw something in that overtime that they can build on and he can build on to now be an effective part of this team. He hasn't to this point.
Yeah. It's a lot of guys. And
yeah,
I don't think this is all that complicated. If you're asking, like, well, why is the offense gone dry? You know, why is it not scoring? Why are the Flyers struggling to score goals? And don't get me wrong, like, I quizzed Rick Tocchet and all the players over the last 2 days. That was my main question. Like, you guys haven't scored more than 2 goals in a game since Game 3 of the Penguin series. What's going on? What do you need to do? Because it's a reasonable question to ask. But I think the answer is pretty straightforward, and it's 3 things. Number 1, true talent-wise, this offense just isn't that great.
No.
Now, I don't think that means it's going to be bad forever. I think as guys like Martone and Michkov and Bump and Barkey, you know, and whoever they add, like, I think it will get better over time as those guys develop and they round out their games. But right now, this offense is a below-average true talent offense. So that's baseline. It's already starting out below average. Then you have the power play is just bad.
It's even worse.
And it's being like, this is what the playoffs do, though. The playoffs highlight your weaknesses because you're playing against better teams. You're not able to score, 2 power play goals against, Columbus, or I'm trying to think of even worse than that, or,
The Rangers.
the Rangers, or even like the Islanders. You're not able to boost your numbers by playing against teams that just aren't very good. Every night you're playing a good team. So if you have a flaw, if you have a weakness, and the Flyers' flaw all year has been the power play, it's going to be, there's going to be an even bigger spotlight on it because these teams have legitimately good penalty kills. You're not playing against any teams with bad penalty kills because those teams don't make the playoffs. So that's number 2. The power play stinks. So nobody's getting their numbers boosted by scoring on the power play. And then number 3, injuries. There are key guys on this team, particularly the vets, who are injured. Owen Tippett ain't even playing. Travis Konecny, I'm pretty sure, is banged up. Tyson Forrester, I'm pretty sure, has just hit
That's
the wall.
what I want to
He's
talk
hit
to.
I think he was thriving off of sheer adrenaline when he came back.
Absolutely.
Now you're seeing a guy who missed 4 straight months.
It's very obvious to me, and I'm just hoping this is what it is,
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I feel like we would have heard, or as we're trying to, okay, maybe we're going to take a guy out, and, Grundstrom's going to, like, if it was, he got re-injured.
No,
I don't feel like he'd be out.
I don't think.
But Tyson Forster, he just does not look right, Charlie. And that was my thing. Like, I don't know if it's came back too early and the injury's bothering him, but it's like the game shape for grind of the playoffs after, like you said, essentially missing 4 months. Do you think that's all it is? Because I'm looking at him right now. So he doesn't have a point in these playoffs, which is insane when you think about what he was last season, the first part of this year before the injury, and right when he came back, when it was like, holy hell, he's better. He got better, because he looked faster. He's firing the puck right away. Looks good. 5 shots on goal, 10 attempts in the first 3 playoff games. Okay. All right. That's something. He's shooting. He's got 6 shots and 12 attempts total in the last 5. He has no more than 2 shots, 3 attempts in any of the last 5 games. That's tops that he has put up. Usually it's like 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's just, man, he missed 4 months and like he was supposed to be back now.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Like, well, if they get to round 2,
maybe like a game 6 or 7 in round 1, but probably round 2.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, round 2 started right away and he came back.
Ridiculous.
He came back in April, like in early April.
Yeah.
It just feels
late
like
March, right? Did he come back in late March? Was it early April or late March? I don't know if he got back before
Martone was the last day of March.
So he was beginning of
and
April. Okay.
He was like a game or 2 later, I believe.
Okay.
Either way, wildly early from the initial diagnosis.
Absolutely.
From what even we were hearing like weeks after the injury, like, maybe. Like, I'm hoping it's just that. But I think him right there, because when Martone and Forster joined the lineup, that's when we looked at it and went, this is a professional offense. And Martone, like, I'm 100% just able to give a pass to because he's 19. He ain't even supposed to be here yet. And I guess I should be doing the same with Forster because this is what happens when you miss 4 months and then just come back into the grind of the playoffs.
Yeah, but like that's what it is that, number one, this offense already true talent-wise isn't great. And they have a lot of guys that I think are, that this time next year, if they make the playoffs, or even like this time, next year in February, if they have all these same guys, it will be a better offense because presumably a lot of these guys will be healthy. Like Martone will be better because he will be in the midst of his first full season in the NHL and probably more used to it all. Forrester will be better because hopefully he won't be dealing with an injury, hopefully. But the reason why I'm not terribly concerned about Forrester in terms of, number one, him being re-injured, number two, just him, is that his issues are entirely on the offensive side. Defensively, he's still great. And that's not even just by the eye test. That's by the numbers. In 8 games in the playoffs at 5-on-5, he's been on the ice for 2 goals against. He is still shutting down other teams. That element of his game, that fundamental core aspect of his game, it's still great. In terms of expected goals allowed per 60, out of Flyers forwards, the only forward that has a lower expected goals per 60 allowed when he's been on the ice is Garnet Hathaway. He is second best defensively in terms of expected goal suppression at 5-on-5. The defense is there. The problem is that when he's on the ice, there's nothing happening offensively, both in terms of what he's doing and in terms of what the entire team is doing. Like in 8 games, I said that in 8 games, the Flyers have allowed only 2 goals when he's been on the ice at 5-on-5. They've scored only 1 goal when he's been on the ice at 5-on-5. The defense is there. The fundamental elements of his game are still there. It's just that I just don't think he has the jump to produce offensively, and I don't know if that's going to show up the rest of these playoffs.
All right, on the other side, I want to talk a little bit about Martone and a couple of other key guys who really have not stepped up offensively. I mean, we could just talk about the entire freaking team. It's the whole team.
It's the whole team.
But we'll talk about that after this quick 2-minute break. Elkin Chevrolet, run by three brothers, real brothers, local guys, and right now, these guys are going all in. Check out their inventory of Chevy trucks and SUVs, the ones people actually want, priced to move fast. Silverados, Equinox, Trax, Traverse, if it's on your list, they have it, and they're going fast. So if you've been waiting, do not, because once these trucks and SUVs are gone, they are gone. Whether it's getting to a game, going to work, or getting out of town, you'll be driving off in the right ride at a price that makes it an easy yes. And here's the difference. No runaround, no back and forth, no games, just real brothers making real deals every single day. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of that signature honkin' good service. Located on Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. Stop by Elkin's today. Let's go Flyers! Spring is here, and that also means pest season is right around the corner. Ants, spiders, bees, and other unwanted pests become much more active this time of year, making now the perfect time to protect your home. That's why our friends at Evans Pest Control are running a spring sales event for new customers. If you're new to Evans Pest Control, you can get 5% off general pest control services when you book your first treatment. All you have to do, use the promo code SPRING5 when you schedule your service. This offer runs from March 15th through May 31st, and it applies to standard general pest control treatments designed to keep your home protected from common seasonal pests. Just mention or enter the code SPRING5 when booking to receive 5% off your service. So if you're looking for reliable pest protection this spring, reach out to Evans Pest Control, schedule your service, and use the code SPRING5 to save 5% during their spring sales event. Learn more at evanspestmgmt.com. All right, welcome back to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. Charlie, I want to talk about Martone very quickly. It's almost like unfair to hold him to the standard of his first, 12 NHL games or whatever. But even his first couple of playoff games, 2 goals and an assist in the first 3 games, no points since then. And as I'm looking here, the last 4 games, 4 shots on goal total. And we've seen this guy have like 9 shots on goal. Game 2 against Pittsburgh, 6 shots on goal. Is it as simple as, 19-year-old rookie?
Yeah, and I also think, too, some of this probably is him hitting the wall a little bit. But also, I think back to what Jamie Drysdale said after they clinched Game 6 against the Penguins. And he said that, you know what? Those first 3 games were great, but the Penguins were just a different team, the final 3. They found a way to win Game 6. They go on to round 2. Props to the Flyers. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Martone started to have less of an impact when the Penguins upped their game, because you had final 3 games of that series, Penguins look like a different team. Yeah. They're playing true playoff level hockey. And then these 2 games, like the Carolina Hurricanes, are just a really good team.
They're just a better team.
Yeah. So you've had the last 5 games, Martone has been playing true competitive at peak level playoff style hockey at the NHL level. It really shouldn't shock anyone that a 19-year-old who a month and a half ago was going up against college kids is struggling a little bit to handle that degree of escalation of quality of competition.
I do want to comment on Denver Barkey. Listen, he's got no points in his last 4 games. It's not like he's been phenomenal.
I think he's been good.
But in terms of Flyers forwards, bar, not high, but in terms of Flyers forwards, like this undersized dude that they suddenly have playing at center with a couple other rookies on his wings doesn't look too bad.
Well, they're playing him at center.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild to me. And I did a feature story on that on Sunday that I kind of just had to push out there because it was a developing story. It seemed like, based on what I was hearing, that there was a good chance he was going to play center in Game 2, which he did. And I had a great conversation. Everybody had the conversation with Barkey, but I had a really good conversation with Noah Cates about it, who I thought would be... Cates is a great interview. He's low-key one of the best interviews on the team. He's just a really open guy, really nice guy. But also, he made the switch from wing to center at the NHL level. So he's the perfect guy to talk to about a situation like this, and he gave me a ton of great stuff. So check that out at allphly.com. It is for diehards only. But the fact that he is looking as competitive and as noticeable as he's looked over the last, I guess, what would it be? 5.5 periods, because he played center for 4 periods last game, and then a period and a half in game 1. That he's been looking that good at center, given his physical limitations, it's pretty impressive. Like, I think he'd probably be looking better at wing, because wing is the easier position. And, it was funny when we were talking to Tocchet about him, because this is something I heard about Denver Barkey dating way back to before the season even started, when he had that really, really good rookie game, when he didn't even play the second rookie game, because they're like, well, yeah, I mean, you did everything you needed to do. You don't need to play game number 2. I talked to somebody in the Flyers organization, and what they told me was like, yeah, Barkey's a player, and he's going to be an NHLer, but we're excited about how good he's going to be when he actually gets lower body strength, because small guys need to have the big legs. You think to Martone St. Louis, but like, I don't know if he's ever going to get to that point where it's like St. Louis' legs were so jacked it was actually disgusting. He was like a bodybuilder. I'm not necessarily expecting Barkey to get to that level, but I thought it was noteworthy that when we talking about Barkey a couple days ago, he pointed out Stankoven, who has succeeded as a small center with the Canes this year, having a great postseason, and Tocchet made sure to point out that like Stankoven has tree trunk legs, and the implicit statement was Barkey, if he gets to that point, and I have no reason to believe he won't, because everything I know about Barkey tells me he has a really, really good work ethic, that when Barkey gets to that point, maybe Barkey could be a heck of an NHL center. He's not there yet. And the fact that he's still looking as impactful and competitive as he's looked, despite the fact that he's kind of, not nearly as physically developed as he's hopefully going to be in 2, 3, 4 years, bodes well for his long-term upside, I would say.
It certainly does. Outside of these guys we've mentioned, obviously Tippett hasn't even played in this series, and like we talked about earlier, 70% maybe in the Penguin series. Hoping to see him back, but we'll see about that. Alex Bump, he's been, I thought, like we said last night, he's looking scorerish. He has found himself in a few high danger situations. Would love to see a little more. I do want to look real quick, though, before we take our last break, at the goaltending, Charlie, and then we'll do super chats and all that other stuff. Maybe talk a little about tonight's lottery. But Dan Vladar, 4-4 in the playoffs, 189 goals against, sub-2 goals against, which is, oh yeah, well, guess what? Going into last night's game, Freddie Anderson was sub-1.
Wow.
It was 0.90 goals against going into last night.
Jeez.
929 save percentage. He's got the 2 shutouts. In this series, he has stopped 60 of 66 for a 909. In the regular season, that's commendable. Hell yeah, way to go. Yeah, 60 out of 66 for a 909. That's basically all we can expect out of you. If he is just good and not great, do they have any chance?
I guess you can't rule it out entirely, because you never know.
I guess they could just start scoring. Freddie Anderson could start shooting.
Trevor Zegras gets on a heater, or Travis Konecny starts finishing on his chances, then maybe you don't need superstar Dan Vladar. But assuming that the offense isn't going to magically flip a switch and turn into, a 4 or 5 goal a night offense, yes, you do need Dan Vladar to not just be good, but be great. And he's just been good. I would say he's just been good so far. He gives up, he's had a couple goals in this series where you're like, not weak, but like probably should have.
The Jackson Blake one, I'm just like, from game 1, I'm just like, all right, well, Michkov got burned, Sanheim got burned, but the puck was always on this side, and somehow you weren't at the post.
Yeah.
And Seth Jarvis, like, I'm not going to kill him for one where 2 guys get absolutely turnstile, but also, like,
he got a piece of
there.
He got a piece of it.
And then the Jarvis one last night, I'm like, yeah, it's a good shot, and it's Seth Jarvis, who's really good, but we just needed it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
The Jarvis one.
Sorry, we needed it.
It's less that it was a weak goal, and it's more that he was there. He got over, and he gets a piece of that shot. It's like, well, and I'm not saying this to be hard on Vladar. If you interviewed Dan Vladar, he'd probably say the exact same thing, that I should have stopped those, because he holds himself to an extremely high standard, and we've seen how good he can be when he's playing his best. He literally was perfect in an elimination game.
And listen, like, especially game 1, if he stops every shot, they still probably don't win. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
They're probably still playing.
They were never going to score in that game. Dan Vladar did it for the good of his own team to give up a goal.
We're in the 30th overtime right now.
That game just never ends, and the playoffs are just like, we have to put everything on hold till this game ends. Like, because the Flyers were never, ever going to score in game one.
Yeah.
Last night, there is like, all right, like the overtime winner, I'm not holding against you. It's a scramble in front. You almost got it. You didn't. Stuff happens. There were some people complaining, like, was that goalie interference? I don't think so.
Well, Tocchet said, we interviewed him because I think Sam Filippo asked.
I didn't think so, but other people had some complaints.
I think Tocchet basically said, I don't think it was goalie interference, but what Tocchet said today was, when I watched it again, it was closer than I thought it was in real time. Because there was contact made and the puck is still loose. My interpretation watching the video is that by the time serious contact is made, the puck is already past
Taylor
him.
Hall's already...
It's already past him. But I've seen interference calls called for less, I guess is what I will say.
It's such a, I thought we knew the rule and now we don't. But in overtime, is it even from the coaches?
No, it is. Tocchet confirmed. This is what I thought, which is why I did not.
That was my question.
Because some people were like, why didn't Tocchet challenge? Like, I don't think you can, and that's the case. The NHL has to be the ones, because they review all overtime goals in the playoffs.
Because there'd be nothing to lose. You just do it every time for S and giggles.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, like, what, are you going to put me on the penalty kill? We lost.
Yeah,
it's over.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so that's what I figured, but I just wanted to confirm. All right. We got to take one more break. I want to talk a minute for draft lottery because the Flyers don't have anything on the line, or do they tonight? And then there's a few super chats we'll knock out. Parks Casino is my casino of choice. Parks is a great place for a night of headline entertainment and award-winning dining. Make the night complete and stay at the new, beautiful Parks View Hotel, which is just steps away from the Parks Casino and offers shuttle service. And just announced comedian Ben Bankus on August 22nd and magician Michael Carbonaro on September 19th. And guess what? Tickets are still available for these headline acts at Parks Casino. Thursday, May 14th, it's Jacob Dylan and the Wallflowers. Friday, May 15th, it's country music superstar Brantley Gilbert. Saturday, May 16th, Andrew Dice Clay. Saturday, June 20th, it's All McCartney Live, a tribute to Sir Paul McCartney himself. And then on October 23rd, they've got Guns N' Roses. Head to parkscasino.com to buy tickets. You must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And remember, let's go Flyers. If you're really feeling it after a tough workout or a pickup game, or you just feel everyday life catching up to you, do not ignore it. Go with the best. Rothman Orthopedics. They've earned national recognition as the #1 physician practice by Castle Connolly for having the most top doctors in orthopedic care. That means top-tier specialists right here and ready to help you. Scheduling is super easy. Just visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to book your appointment. Check out Rothman's Fast Scheduler program for access to their VIP scheduling team to get scheduled with the right provider right away. Or tap into Rothman now for immediate virtual access to an orthopedic expert who can point you in the right direction. Do not wait it out. Go to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and take the first step towards feeling like yourself once again. And as always, let's go Flyers! Welcome back to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Now, Charlie, the Flyers cannot win the draft lottery tonight, but they could be side winners.
It's true.
Right now, the draft lottery order, at least the top 5, goes Vancouver, Chicago, the Rangers, the Flames, the Leafs.
Right.
What makes that interesting is the Leafs pick is top 5 protected. So if they stay or move up, they keep it. And if that happens, now, as we have seen with the Flyers in the past, they were the 4th worst team in hockey last year, finished 6th. I believe the Cutter year, they were like 3rd worst and picked 5 or whatever. Like, they either stayed or fell.
They might have fell by 1 spot.
Yeah, your odds.
1 or 2, I'd have to go back and look.
Your odds of picking a spot or 2 behind your actual spot are higher than staying.
Yes.
Because there's a whole bunch of teams that can move ahead of you.
Yes.
That's the way it goes. But if, say, they win the lottery, move up to 2, 1, or stay at 5, there's a distinct possibility that 2027 top 10 protected pick from the Leafs that came along with Grabenkin in the Scott Lawton trade could suddenly be a whole lot more valuable. Break this down for the people, like, say they've read it 3 times and still don't fully understand it, like maybe me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so tired that trying to explain this, there's a good chance I'm gonna get confused too. But basically what it boils down to is this pick, the 2026 pick, as you mentioned, either Toronto keeps it if it's in the top 5, or it goes to Boston if it's not, because this was in the Brandon Carlo trade. The Brandon Carlo trade. That was the pick they traded. Now, if my understanding, based on the public interpretation of this, is that if Toronto keeps their top 5 pick, then the Toronto Maple Leafs will have a choice next year as to whether they want to give up an unprotected 2027 pick to the Flyers or to the Bruins to conclude the Scott Lawton trade or to conclude the Brandon Carlo trade. One presumes if they were given the choice between those two teams, they would probably give the unprotected pick to the Flyers, because you don't want to give
their division rival.
You don't want to give a division rival a pick, even a year early.
Yeah.
You'd rather make them wait, because screw them. They're a division rival. Now, my understanding is that the Flyers internally, Kevin Kurz has reported this, I've heard similar things. The Flyers believe that if Toronto keeps their top 5 pick, that Toronto doesn't even have a choice.
It's not even a choice. It's
not even
just theirs.
That it's just that the Flyers get the unprotected 2027 pick. Now, if this plays out the other way and Toronto drops out of the top 5 and they therefore give up that pick to Boston, right? They would give up that pick if it drops out of the top 5. The Flyers still get the 2027 pick, but then it is top
10 protect.
Then the earliest the Flyers could pick from that Toronto pick would be 11. But we would rather them have an unprotected pick, because, hey, if Toronto is real bad next year and you have an unprotected 2027 pick, suddenly the Flyers could be picking in the top 5, and Toronto could be real bad.
So this is my understanding as I have tried to put it together in my head, and you explained it to me 5 minutes before we went on the air. While the Flyers would still probably get the pick in 2027 that is owed to them, since the protections get dropped for the Boston pick, that means that pick is just unprotected either way.
Yeah.
And the 2028 pick is unprotected either way.
Yes.
If they were to, for some reason, choose Boston in 27, the Flyers in 28.
Yeah, yeah.
There are no protections on either of the picks if they keep this top 5 protected pick.
Right.
So we're kind of rooting for the Leafs tonight.
No. The easiest way to think about this, rather than worry about all the permutations and all the clauses and whether the Flyers are right or whether the Leafs are right or whatever, the easiest way to look at it is you want to root for the Leafs to keep their pick, because rooting for the Leafs to keep their pick gives the Flyers the possibility. Now, a lot of things would have to go their way. Toronto would have to stink next year. Maybe Toronto would have to make a certain decision. But if the Leafs keep their top 5 pick tonight, there is a world where the Flyers could get a really, really high pick next season from the Leafs. So root for that.
All right. Now let's hit those super chats. We got 4 of them today. Let's start it out with J.E. Frucione. Guys, I see this series as an audition for the players who could be on the Flyers team that will challenge for a cup. 21 and unders aside, competing against Carolina will show who is on the level and who isn't. I would say yes. I would say, yeah, like to a degree, yes and no. Like Porter Martone has been a no-show in this series. That said, I fully expect him, when this team is good, for him to be one of the 2 or 3 best players.
And in fairness, J.E. was saying 21 and unders aside.
Oh,
so I think he's more talking about the
I get it.
The Trevor Zegrases, the Noah Cateses, the guys in their mid-20s. The only caveat I'll give you is you're going to have to account for injuries. Like, I don't think the fact that Owen Tippett was unavailable for games in this series should have you believe, like, well, sorry, you weren't ready. We got to trade you. And I know Travis Konecny is getting a ton of crap from fans. I get it. But, like, if we find out after the series that he was playing through 3 things, I'm a lot more willing to cut him some slack.
And with that, we got to trigger overtime. Go to allphly.com to finish up today's show. Just one quick thing on Tippett. I don't think we said this to you last night, but you have mentioned, yeah, man, like, hopefully Jet Luchenko gets here and, like, Michkov isn't slow and Martone gets faster, but if they trade Owen Tippett, which might be the best path forward because you can get a good return, boy, is this a slow team.
Yeah.
They are very, very slow without him.
They've missed him. They've missed him a lot in the series.
Especially up front. All right, next one here is, what's this say? Chris Bloom. Drove 3 hours each way to Raleigh to watch 5 minutes of exciting hockey. At least I got a puck from Juleson in warmups. Game 3 is a must win.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard some people. Maybe it's different if you're in the building, but like, look, I get it that the Canes play a certain style and the Flyers play a certain style. I've been riveted by these games. I have not found them boring even a little bit.
I would not say this has been edge of your seat hockey. I will say it has been good hockey.
Yeah.
Like
no, they're not going to play like the Avalanche.
No, it's not going to be a 9-6. If both teams pull their goalie, there's a good chance it's not a 9-6 game.
I got news for you guys. Like, if you are still like praying for the Flyers to become the Avalanche, like, just stop rooting for them and root for the Avalanche, because that's not the path they're ever going to take. Like, this is going to be a team that is going to grind for wins. That is the identity of this Philadelphia Flyers team. It's the identity of this Philadelphia Flyers organization.
Who knows what?
Sorry.
Who knows? Who knows though? What if that Toronto pick becomes a Cale Makar or Nathan McKinnon? It's a possibility.
I'm just saying.
No, they would still probably play this.
They would just play like Florida.
Yeah. They would have one dude who's doing everything, and then a couple other guys pitching in. All right, next one is it says J Money, Joe Money. Do we want Toronto to keep their pick tonight? It would be the most Leafs thing if it went.
We talked about that. Yes. We do.
We want them 5 or above.
From a Flyers perspective,
5 or
you want the Leafs keeping their pick. It's the best path to help the Flyers potentially in the future.
Yeah, 1 through 5 for Toronto. That's what we want. All right, and Stuart Miller. Barkey works out in the offseason with Gary Roberts' performance, so I have no doubt he can get that lower body strength.
Yeah, he does.
Hit that squat rack, young man.
I've heard that he is a very, very hard worker, but there's just some strength that takes time to build.
It's just going to, like, he's not going to, at this point, be able to have like a Sanheim offseason, I would guess. Like, it's going to take a few years of him just naturally developing. Like Charlie Manuel would say, needs his man body.
And also, he was hurt a lot of last offseason. So
that's a good point.
He claimed that, it didn't affect my training that much. There's no way it didn't affect his training at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, he missed most of the OHL playoffs and came back for the Mem Cup, but like wasn't 100% in any way, and then missed a lot of their development stuff and all that, right?
Didn't play in development camp, wasn't on the ice.
Yeah. All right. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. We're not at 100 likes yet. That bothers me. Let's just, come on, boost up them numbers a little bit. I want to be at 150 by the time I get home in like half an hour. All right. Follow us on this here YouTube page. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Back-to-back 4 p.m. shows. Right in the middle of the playoffs. Who would have thought? All right. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Thank you, Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.